Good morning and welcome to Tuesday's Church at Home with Rachael. I just, I need to talk about common courtesy or the lack thereof. What happened to it? What happened to common sense? The word common just doesn't seem to be very common anymore, does it? Last week, I think I mentioned yesterday, I had been in Edmonton last week. On Thursday, I was on my way home and it was about lunchtime, so I stopped in at Viking at the Burger King there to get a Whopper. It's, one of the things we're missing in Wainwright is a good Burger King or a Wendy's or something. I know we've got McDonald's and A&W, but something new would be good. Anyway, so I stopped by to get a burger at Burger King. And as I was waiting in line to have my order taken, a gentleman picked up his order and went to his table. And he was an older gentleman. And he came back absolutely belligerent because he said he had ordered a burger that had 3 patties, and he got one that only had 1 patty. And he brought his receipt with him, and he kept yelling at the gentleman who was the customer service person. But there were only 2 of them working, and I thought he was doing a pretty good job. It was like working as a one-armed paper hanger. He was trying to take orders and expedite them and get drinks ready, and it was really busy. And I thought he was doing a great job. Well, the gentleman, I use that term loosely, started yelling at him because he'd ordered a triple patty and he only got 1 patty, and he wanted a new burger and he wanted it now. And so the customer service rep took a look at his receipt and said, "Well, sir, you ordered this combo number 1, which is a Whopper, which comes with 1 patty." "Well, I want my other patties." And he kept saying, like, he's trying to get other people's orders ready, and he's trying to take orders from new people, and this guy just kept yelling at him. And he said to him, "Well, well, just give me another patty." And he said, "Well, okay, that's $2.25. And he got very angry because, "Well, I already paid for it." He said, "No, sir, you didn't." And his great argument. And the fact is that the older gentleman was making a fool of himself because he kept pointing at the menu and saying, "See, they're the same price." And the young man kept saying, "Sir, you're talking about, that's the price of the combo, and what you're looking at is the price of just the patty or the burger for this other burger." And finally the man grabbed his stuff and stomped off, and he was very angry. And this young man looked embarrassed, and he looked like he felt like he did something wrong. And the fact is that those of us who were there when the gentleman ordered his food know he did nothing wrong. The man was ignorant to begin with. He was belligerent. He was rude when he placed his order, and he was 10 times as rude when he thought his order was wrong. What made it seem so obvious was that the gentleman, the customer service person, the Burger King worker, was not white. And the fact that I even noticed this, I don't notice things like that. I just go about my business. But he spoke perfect English and he understood English. So that wasn't the problem. He had an accent. And that seemed to bother the gentleman who was losing his mind over this extra missing patties on his burger. He was embarrassing the people he was with as they tried to tell him to calm down and just sit down and eat the burger, and the other person offered to give him their burger. But he just seemed intent on humiliating the young man behind the counter. And that young man behind the counter dealt with it the best he could. But he shouldn't have had to. I remember I had my own Burger King story. It was my first real part-time job where I worked on a regular basis. I worked at Clifton Hill in Niagara Falls. And if you've ever been there, Clifton Hill is the busiest part other than the falls. It's where all the wax museum is and all the souvenir shops and all the attractions are there. And Burger King was busy all the time. And I remember I had been working since open, so I was in the store since 5:00 in the morning for a 6:00 open, and I was working an extra long shift because somebody didn't show up, and it was about 3:00, about 10 to 3, and I was supposed to be going home. And because I was only 14, my mom made sure that she came to pick me up, which was, God bless her, because she was working nights, which means she slept days, and for her to come and get me at 3:00 downtown Niagara Falls, no parking in the middle of July, was insane. And yet she did it all the time. Anyway, she was coming to get me, and I was so tired. I wanted to be done my shift. And the last customer I had, about 10 to 3, we were packed from the counter to the wall behind people lined up was absolutely packed. There was no lines. People just sort of shoved their way to the front. And this gentleman said to me he wanted his fries with no salt. And so I said, okay, well, I'll order them that way. But if you've ever worked in a fast food restaurant, you know the fries come out with the grease. They throw them down. They throw the salt on. Well, the salt tends to bake onto the metal where the fries land. And it's hard to get. You can add no more extra salt, but you can end up with salt. So I gave him his fries. He walked away and came back because there was salt on his fries. And he started to curse me. And I don't mean like he was yelling at me and swearing at me. He was cursing me, like, in the name of God, I curse you, like that kind of curse. I was 14 years old, for heaven's sakes. Like, oh dear. And I was very upset by that because somebody was that angry that over French fries that they felt the need to treat me as if I was less than human. And watching this older gentleman treating this clerk, the service person at the Burger King in Viking on Thursday was devastating to me because I just wanted to climb behind the counter and give him a hug and then help him expedite orders. And I wanted to pop the old man in the mouth. He was so rude and he was embarrassing, and he made the rest of us, there were probably 8 or 9 people in the restaurant and in the store, he made us all feel uncomfortable, including the people he was with. There is absolutely no call for that kind of discourteous behavior. I imagine if he'd simply gone to the counter and said, "Excuse me, I think there's a mistake here. I thought I ordered this combo and all I got was this one." He could have looked and said, "Well, you only paid for the number 1, so if you want me to ring through a number 3, I can do that, or we could." But he didn't do that. He immediately led with rude. He immediately led with somebody else is the problem. And in this case, it looked an awful lot, maybe I'm reading into it, and I hope I'm not, but it looked an awful lot like the problem is you're not like me. You don't have the same skin tone as me. You don't speak with the same accent as me, which means that you're not worthy. I'm worried about what's happening in our society, that we have to do this. We have, years ago when my sister was in elementary school, they put through the 0% bullying policy. And that just indicated that there were bullies. There's always been bullies. So how do we deal with bullies? Well, 0% bullying policy, which meant that at least they were working on it. I don't think it worked very well, but at least there was a sense that we need to teach our young people not to be bullies and how to stand up to one if one gets in your face. Because there's bullies in all parts of society. And probably in the next couple of days, I'm going to talk about a bully in American politics. Someone who stood up as a white mother, a suburban mother who serves in politics, who felt that she had been treated as if she was being bullied by another woman in politics. And there's an article by Barbara Taylor Brown that I think I might share or allude to in a future Church at Home. But the fact is that we are becoming bigger and bigger bullies. We are not exercising common courtesy. Common courtesy does not require that you're Christian, or that you go to school, or you go to church, or that you believe in God. Common courtesy means we just all treat each other with courtesy. And that's not happening. And people's patience levels, their fuses seem to be getting shorter and shorter. So I think those of you who watch with me and join me in Church at Home, you and I need to become advocates of common courtesy. We need to work together to help people see the importance of courteousness and helping people to be patient and kind and not assuming the worst of the other, but assume the best. Never assume that someone is out to get you, because guess what? If that's where you're starting from, you're going downhill fast. We need to learn to treat people as we would wish to be treated, period. And I don't think that gentleman in Burger King in Viking would ever appreciate being treated the way he treated that young man. So, should I have done something? Probably. I should have spoken up. I should have said something, and I didn't. So there's something for me to learn as well. It may not be my business, but at the same time, if it's always no one else's business, then nothing will change. And something has to change. We need to come back to being a society of people who are kind. So be kind today. Be kind to others. Be kind to yourself. And if you see bullying, step up. I'm going to try next time to step up myself. Have a good day. God bless you, and I'll see you again tomorrow for Church at Home with Rachael.